So it's a beautiful February Sunday afternoon, and we're down in the fen. It's beautiful here today, beautiful. A little overcast, so it would be possible to get lost in here because without any directional guidelines like the sun, it's pretty easy to just end up traveling in circles. But we're snowshoeing, we're marking our trails. We have the trusty axe. We're not cutting down trees, we're just simply clearing some branches so we can make a nice trail all the way through this fen. Now today we're going in the opposite direction. We're starting at the west and we're headed towards the east, and we'll come out by a beautiful little pond. So come along. So we're in here, the beautiful fen. Some people call it a bog or a muskeg. There are black spruce, there are larch, and this winter there are a lot of deer. We're seeing a lot of deer tracks, and of course squirrel tracks and bunny tracks. We're hoping, always hoping to see a lynx track. Not sure if that'll happen, but we're just enjoying making this new trail through the bogs. We have come upon something interesting. Here's some Labrador tea, just loose on top of the snow. There's lots of Labrador tea around. And there's signs that we think the snowshoe hare must be eating it. Now that should come as no surprise, but I have to say that I didn't realize that snowshoe hares might eat Labrador tea. So I think I've just learned something new today. It's always so exciting to learn new things. Here's a little bunny track hopping across the snow. I feel like intrepid explorers. No human has ever walked this way before. And chances are no human has walked this way before. This is quite an inhospitable spot in here. Beautiful. Very wet in the summer, so the only way to access it is when everything is frozen. So hopefully we don't get lost. We think we're going south. We'll see. We'll just keep going and making a path. So we have been wandering through the woods, and perfect example of how people get lost in the woods. So I know these woods fairly well. I thought we were trending, just to the south, mostly to the south, a little bit to the southwest. And then all of a sudden, we headed almost due west, west-southwest. And here we are at the west fence line. Who knew? I didn't think we were here. So this is a good reminder that when you're traveling in uncharted territory without a compass, not a very good idea to be without a compass, and I wouldn't be if I was in the wilderness, just how easy it is to get disorientated. So this is my land. I should have known where we were. There's no sun. We had no guide post to follow. And so here we are at the west fence line. So now we're going to cut back to the east and to the south, and then we know where we are again. So good. So I'm down beneath this beautiful old snag, and this is the snag of a jack pine. When I was young, I would come down here with my friend Fred, and just south of here along the fence line was a majestic, huge old pine, and we would always stand at the base of that pine and talk about it being a pine and how few pine trees there are in this forest. But there are a few. Sadly, I believe the porcupines spelt the demise of most of these pines. They girdled them. But I'm so happy that there is one living pine tree still here. Nice, big, tall, majestic pine. And there are about 6 snags. So obviously the porcupines decimated almost all of the trees here. But there is one pine tree, and every time I come through the woods here, I always try and make sure that my circuitous route comes by this little ancient pine forest. So we've just made our way through the thickest of the swamp. the bog, the fen. And we're now coming up to there's a hill. There's a wonderful little ridge along the south end of our property. We can see poplars now, probably, and white spruce. Actually saw a couple of birch. And we're in a spot where there's severe blowdown. So it's just a tangle. And so what happens is a big wind will come through, and often one tree will let go and it will take several trees down, domino effect. Many of these trees in here are old, decadent, so they're dead, and down they come. See these trees are still used, even if they're down horizontal on the ground. So you can see the little squirrels had its meal up here on the top. Looks like a little bit of a midden. And isn't this interesting? These coniferous trees have very shallow roots and they're very wide bases. And so this old monster tree fell over and the whole root base just came up with it. And you can see how tall it is. That's got to be about 3 to 4 meters tall. So with this nice weather, the red squirrels are super active. They've been out above the snow. If it's super cold, they will go down and sleep. But when it's decent out, they are busy, busy, busy. And so they will go down to their underground stash, haul up a spruce cone that they stored in the fall, and bring them up and just sit and eat. And so it's interesting here in the middle of the forest to see the amazing amount of squirrel activity. This is a little lake. It's in the middle of what we call Birdie's Bog, but really it's a rich fen. So it's surrounded by black spruce and larch. It's not very big, it's not very deep, but it's always been this wonderful little destination. We have kayaked on it. It's a long ways to haul in a kayak. And so basically we just come and gaze over the water. There's usually a few buffleheads, a few other ducks. I'm just trying to think what the other ducks are usually here. We've seen blue-winged teal. Those are the ones that are usually here. So it's just kind of a neat little pond that's filled with springs from the side. So it's fresh, it's very clear, lots of pond lilies. So maybe we'll get a chance this summer to come out and do another little paddle if we can haul the kayak in all the way.